Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we return to talking about pretty prominent shows removing certain supposedly problematic episodes from streaming services. This has been happening repeatedly over the summer, throughout this year even, because what's happened is a combination of things. First of all, there's lots of new streaming services coming out. The streaming wars are upon us. It's no longer just Netflix and Hulu who are at the top of the game. Now they have to compete with Amazon, HBO Max. There's NBC service called Peacock. There's a whole bunch of them out there. CBS All Access. I mean, I'm just naming the big ones I can remember offhand, but there's a lot of streaming services now. A lot of things are going onto the internet, video on demand and stuff like that. And today we're talking about another instance where stuff is being censored from streaming services. Certain movies and pictures and stuff have been removed in some cases. Like, for example, our favorite show South Park had some of its episodes not make it to HBO Max. That's the new home of that show and that streaming service. And it's happened with other things on HBO Max too, like they removed the Gone with the Wind movie and then brought it back with like a disclaimer. And essentially what's going on is what's combining is all these streaming services are coming out. They're also left-leaning and woke and connected to Hollywood, so they're trying to get in on that crowd, the liberal PC crowd. And in addition, part of the reason because it's election year and well, things are just getting more woke out there. Things are getting controversial. People are getting canceled. People are retiring from roles. All kinds of stuff like that is happening in response to the election, the culture war, left versus right. There's a lot of BLM stuff going on now too in response to some arrests gone wrong that turned political, became race baited. And that's basically what's led us to today. Now we're talking about a new instance where some episodes of some famous shows are getting removed from streaming services. We're going to talk about that soon. But first, let's take a moment to check out our sponsor. 70 to 90% of your skin, joints, tendons, and bones are made up of collagen. Your gut depends on it too. And even your hair and nails contain collagen as well. And that's why I started taking Ageless Multi-Collagen. Just add 1 scoop of it to whatever you're drinking at the time, and then in less than a month, you'll start experiencing younger looking skin with more vibrance, and you'll have more energy too, just like me. Plus, if you order today, we'll offer free shipping by going to my custom link right below this video, or you could type in healthwithnobs.com. Thanks for your time. Hope you enjoy this product. And now back to the show. Great. Now that that's out of the way, as you can see by this article, it says Adult Swim removes problematic episodes from streaming due to cultural sensitivities. The shows in question are Aqua Teen Hunger Force, The Boondocks, and The Shivering Truth, which were all affected according to this article. We'll get to more specifics soon, but right out the gate, I mean, I'm not familiar with this third show, but I do know Aqua Teen and The Boondocks. Those are classic cartoons known to be a little edgy. Specifically, The Boondocks is like a black-based cartoon with black characters that often say some pretty insensitive things, you might say. Now, this wasn't a big deal when it came out a few years back. It was before this whole rise and this new wave of PC culture, but the fact that they're getting canceled now isn't exactly surprising, but it is very disheartening, and especially it's bad coming from Adult Swim. You got to consider where this is coming from. Adult Swim is known for being edgy. It's like this nighttime cartoon, kind of adult themed portion of the Cartoon Network, and Adult Swim has been very famous for a long time now. They've had lots of good shows, and they're basically known to have like edgy comedies and off-base humor, you know, coming with like different angles and like, you know, sometimes talking about racial stuff, talking about like current events and things like that. So the fact that they're pulling episodes is a bad sign, because that was the opposite of what their angle was when they came out with these shows. Now they're kind of regressing, and it makes you worry about their other shows. They have other significant shows like Rick and Morty, which could get censored in the future too. So to see this removed from streaming, in this case, them kind of like rewriting these shows' history, is certainly a bad sign. And that's why I think it's worth mentioning in this video. So with that said, let's read on into this article. Adult Swim has removed a number of problematic episodes from its shows from streaming platforms. The shows affected are Aqua Teen, Boondocks, and Shivering Truth. A season 6 episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force titled Shake Like Me, which features an animated equivalent of blackface, does not feature on HBO Max, while the story of Jimmy Rebel from season 3 of Boondocks was also intentionally withheld from the platform due to the appearance of a famed racist country singer. A representative for HBO Max told the Daily Beast that neither of those episodes are part of our streaming deals, and added that both episodes were permanently retired due to cultural sensitivity. So this is again coming from HBO Max. I actually wasn't sure what service they were talking about here. I thought it might have been even multiple ones, but this is HBO. They've done this before. They've censored South Park episodes. They've censored Gone with the Wind. You know, they've done all this, and it's just them overplaying their hand and getting down with this woke stuff. HBO HBO is owned by Time Warner. They're known to be super woke. A lot of shows on the actual HBO network have been like that lately too. They've always been known to pander to black people. They always have black-centered shows, which can be awesome. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that inherently. The Wire is a famous black-led show from HBO that was one of the best shows of all time. But in recent years, it's more about woke shows. It's more about like blackwashing stuff too. For example, last year we talked about the Watchmen show, which was previously a comic book and a movie that had majority white cast on this superhero team. But all of a sudden when the Watchmen was made, it was all minorities. It was led by this black chick. They kind of crap on the original Watchmen and made it into this whole woke thing. They made it about race too, which was never really intended to be themes in the original Watchmen. Granted, that can change. It's okay to interpret things in other ways, but basically that's the MO of HBO. They're pro-black, they're pro-BLM, and anything that might offend black people, they just take it off the platform, which seems to be the case. These two episodes mentioned here both appear to be like supposedly offensive to minorities. Like this one had the transracial makeup, as I like to call it. This one had an appearance of a supposedly racist country singer. I'm not sure about that specifically. They could very well be racist, or it could be an exaggeration. I mean, that's what happens a lot of times with this stuff. They exaggerate, they overplay it, they pretend something's racist when it's not. That could be not the case here, but again, we just don't know. And I think this coming from HBO Max again is really a bad sign, and it's showing that HBO Max is super woke and probably the least likely streamer for me to get a part of. Adult Swim also explained the decision, saying, when Adult Swim transitions series to a new platform, we determine what episodes are selected through creative and cultural filters and our standards and practice policies. Oftentimes, these decisions are made in collaboration with the show's creator. An episode of The Shivering Truth was also removed from Adult Swim's website directly, a season 1 episode titled Ogling Inklings. The episode features a character being called a dirty pig and has been temporarily wrested from the site. HBO Max said that this episode would be reinstated once The Shivering Truth is released on their platform. So that's a different kind of story there. I'm not sure why that was offensive. It's just like, I don't know. I just feel like these companies are just overdoing it. They're overestimating how sensitive people are. I mean, even if a joke is potentially racist, it's not the end of the world. Like hearing someone say something racist on a show isn't going to like make everyone racist. In fact, sometimes they do that in movies. They have a racist character to show you how bad it is. And I think a lot of the messages in Aqua Teen and Boondocks, from what I remember, they're not like pro-racist. They're mocking it. They make fun of things like transracial makeup. They go after this kind of racist country singer, or they make a parody of things like racism and, you know, black culture is a lot of the topics on Boondocks specifically. Again, I'm not too familiar with Shivering Truth, but I'm not surprised this is coming up on Adult Swim shows. Like I said, this is the way the platform was developed. It was coming around in an edgier time when PC stuff wasn't on the rise. And I think that's what's going on with this story, with this video today. We're seeing that Adult Swim is kind of like coming out of vogue. They're out of fashion because, you know, they can't keep up. The edgy stuff is just too controversial. It's too easy to take down in this cancel culture. That's why they're also showing this picture of Rick and Morty here. You know, we got Rick and Morty's dad, of course, and it's from the show Rick and Morty. And yeah, it's a show that I very much suspect could be another victim of this. And that's why I hate this cancel culture stuff. I think what should really happen is all these episodes should be out there. If a streaming service wants to buy a show, they should host all the episodes and let the people decide. I'd even be more in favor of like a little warning. I know sometimes they put ratings on Netflix and stuff saying, oh, this is mature, this is for kids, this is for teens. Like there might be even a label saying, oh, there's violence, there's sexuality, there might be, you know, illegal activity in the episode. Like having warnings isn't even nearly as bad, but just pulling it and not making it an option, like that's what worries me. I would much rather see these episodes have just like a little click through screen saying, hey, beware, this episode features some racism. Like they could even put something bogus like they did with Gone with the Wind. They could even do that kind of intro, even though I didn't like that. And they actually went way too far with that when they made this whole little video that was super cringe, but that's still preferable than taking the thing out and pretending it never existed. In other Adult Swim news, Rick and Morty co-creator Dan Harmon recently addressed the controversy across animated TV shows regarding the recasting of characters of color. The wave has gotten to the point where it's huge now, but we've been in that water for a bit, he said, and I've not even out of nobility, but out of pragmatism, I've always been of the mind that there's a lot of actors out there. If we're saying that it's an important part of a character, that they are a certain background, the best way to do this is to find an actor of that background. So the Rick and Morty creator is kind of admitting that he's woke now, which is funny because he's got one of the more edgy shows out there. Granted, there's a way to be edgy and woke. There's a way to not like offend liberals, but like say other kinds of controversial stuff. That's kind of the line that Rick and Morty has been riding, because Dan Harmon's a big feminist. He's a big phony too, because he's been accused multiple times of abusing young women on his staff, taking advantage of his position of power. That's how these liberals roll. They act like they love women or they're woke or progressive, but in secret, they're abusing people and they're using this kind of faux feminism as a shield. Now, that's not necessarily super relevant to this story, but I think it's interesting and related because, you know, this is the kind of stuff that comes from these liberal activist types. And the way he says this about the character and the casting, this of course references the other trend I was talking about, specifically in animation. A lot of character actors have been retiring. For example, actors on The Simpsons, actors on Family Guy, the guy who voiced Cleveland. We talk about that in another recent video. And yeah, the Cleveland actor stepped down because apparently white people can't voice certain characters anymore. It's not really about fairness and race. Like, he tries to say that in a nice way here, like with this last quote from Dan Harmon. Like, that's the way they church it up. But the truth is, what's really going on is they're trying to take jobs away from white actors. They're trying to take jokes away from comics, like these episodes and these things that are being censored. It's all about control. It's all about, you know, getting the narrative in their place and doing basically like reverse racist stuff. I mean, it's not really reverse. It's just straight up racism. But the acting thing, replacing white actors with people of color, like that's just a straight up fake news story. They're pretending they're doing something noble when really they're just being anti-white. And then back to the main point of this story, it's really sad to see this happen to Adult Swim. It was once a great show, great channel, great shows, had lots of interest there. I used to watch all kinds of stuff on it back in the day. Granted, the only thing I really keep up with now is Rick and Morty, and it's tough because they are woke. They are kind of progressive, as you could see by its creator. Sometimes they even mention something in an episode, but it's never enough to ruin it. It's still fun. It's still hilarious. And I wish Adult Swim could stand its ground once in a while, but they're dealing with other properties, other streaming services. This isn't their own company. They're working with HBO. So that's another factor. And I think HBO takes a lot of the blame here. But overall, it's the PC culture and the way this whole country is going that's really frustrating. That about wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Tell me what you think about Adult Swim, what you think about these shows removing episodes, if you've watched any of these shows, if you're a Rick and Morty fan, if you heard about this stuff from Dan Harmon and all that great stuff. Let's talk about it in the comments section. Also hit the like button. There's a thumbs up button right below this video. Hit that. That's a cool button to press. You can also subscribe if you're new or hit the bell for notifications. Until next time, have a great day and thanks for watching.